Okay, hello everyone, and welcome to this NYSLRS Retirement Online webinar, where we're excited to field your questions regarding member enrollment and retirement online. Just want to start off by saying this is not a mandatory training. Now, we do appreciate you all taking the time to join us. My name is Will Frank. I work on the Outreach and Change Management team on the redesign project in order to make sure we are covering as many questions as we can on the different aspects of member enrollment and retirement online. We have broken this webinar into different sections in order to address the different types of questions about member enrollment. We will start by answering questions you have about how you will enroll a member through Retirement Online, after which we will address the differences between optional and mandatory members. Finally, we will answer your questions as to how you can best be ready to start enrolling members on the day that we go live next spring. All right, we just wanted to call out some of the changes you can expect to see in the member enrollment process when we go live next spring. The first change you will notice is that you will now be able to enroll optional members who choose to enroll through Retirement Online, as opposed to having to mail or fax them to NYSLRS. Mandatory members will also become automatically enrolled simply by entering their information into PayServe as you do today, without needing to send in separate membership applications to NYSLRS. By enrolling optional members in Retirement Online, you will be able to get their contribution rate immediately, as opposed to waiting to hear back from NYSLRS, while you will also have access to see member contribution rates in Retirement Online. Enrolling optional members using Retirement Online will be a streamlined process that will provide you with helpful information if there are any additional instructions you will need. The red section here shows you can access the member enrollment dashboard after you log into Retirement Online. You will then be guided through our streamlined process to enter a new member's employment, personnel, and job information. We hope that helps serve as a quick overview of what Retirement Online means to the member enrollment process, and we will now start taking your questions on how to enroll a member using Retirement Online. Okay, our first question is, when inputting information for a new optional member who is chosen to enroll, should they be sitting next to you, or should we have them fill out the information and then hand it to us to input into the system?
Hello, this is Margaret Barbarisi. I'm an Assistant Director in the Member and Employer Services Bureau, and I am responsible for enrollment. We recommend you still have your new member complete the membership registration application for the respective system. Retirement Online requires the same information that is required by our existing forms. However, we are currently updating our forms to better reflect what you will see when filling in member information in Retirement Online.
Thank you, Margaret. Our next question, do we have to start providing you with information for an optional employee who doesn't want to enroll with NYSLRS?
Hi, this is Alicia Sullivan. I'm a section head in the enrollment area. Yes, you will add that employee to your PACER file, and their reporting information will be returned to you once validated through NYSLRS. Should this optional employee decide to enroll at a later date, you will have to use the Retirement Online enrollment dashboard.
Next question. If someone is already a member and a new hire to our organization, is there a process we need to follow to affiliate them with our place of employment?
This is Margaret again. Yes, you'll need to add them to your PACER file, which will automatically update their membership information to reflect their new employment.
All right, thank you, Margaret. Our next question. We have several employees that have multiple jobs. Is there a different process that we will use to enroll these employees in Retirement Online?
Hi, this is Alicia again. Retirement Online allows you to select from a list of job codes that most accurately describe the dominant role that your employee has for your organization. Your report will also define employment instance next spring that will better allow NYSLRS to track the different roles an employee occupies for their organization.
Okay, we're just waiting to see if any more questions come our way. In the meantime, just want to remind you that it's critical during this period of transition that you keep your contact types and security roles up to date in our system to be bronze certified, as these individuals will be receiving targeted messages from us related to their work. Also, just as a reminder, if you have not yet completed your bronze or silver certification, it's imperative that you complete your self-paced training in order to realize the benefits of the new member enrollment process as part of Retirement Online. You can see our certification checklist in the handout section of this webinar. Okay, the next question we have here is, will the questions and answers be provided in printed form?
Hi, this is Keaton O'Brien on the communications team. We do take a lot of the questions that we get and add them to our future communications and have plans to do so as well. So you should be seeing answers to many of these questions appear in future communications and on future web content.
Our next question is, so for mandatory enrollments, the enrollments will be done through PACER. Do they have to complete the application as well?
Hi, this is Margaret. If someone is mandatory, there is no need for an application to be completed. All the necessary information will be found on PayServe, which will be translated to us, and they will be automatically enrolled into NYSLRS.
Just another friendly reminder, please visit our Learn More and Get Ready for Retirement Online page for more details on these and more topics. And as always, our help desk staff are here to help. Okay, we thank you for all of your questions. To make sure we field a range of questions today, we'll be responding to the questions on our next topic now. Okay, our next question on mandatory versus optional is, do we still need to submit a paper application if we enroll members online?
This is Margaret. When using Retirement Online to enroll optional members to membership, you will have to upload a PDF of the paper application. You do not need to mail or fax NYSLRS the membership application if using Retirement Online. Without using Retirement Online, you will need to continue to submit a paper application via fax or mail.
And our next question here is, what can we do if a member states that they do not want to join NYSLRS, but we need to check to ensure they are not a mandatory member?
Hi, this is Alicia again. As long as you include the employee on the PACER file submitted to NYSLRS, we will validate whether or not a membership exists and return the necessary reporting information for that employee.
This is Lori. I'd like to tack on to Alicia's answer. I think one important thing to remember is that we are having a direct file interface between the PACER file and retirement. So if you go into PACER and add an employee, you hire them into a job, PACER will be sending all of that information to us every time they produce a file. So there may be timing issues. I know you guys have open windows where you can have certain periods of time where you need to add an employee into PACER to get them set up for pay. We will be getting those files on a regular basis and processing that information to determine whether or not we're actually going to enroll someone, whether they meet our mandatory criteria, or whether we may just create that person in our system because they're optional. We'll have the information, but we will not enroll them. In either case, if it's a new person and they get enrolled, we will send them a new member packet, welcoming them to the retirement system so they'll know they got enrolled. And we will also, for the people who we create who are optionals, we will send them an information packet advising them of the advantages of having a defined benefit plan.
The first one here is, how would I verify that I completed the online training?
Hi, this is Rebecca Fisher. I'm project assistant. So how you would verify is after you complete your online training, you will within a few days receive an email saying congratulations, you've completed your training. If you have completed your training and you do not see this email, just reach out to us and we can follow up and take a look at it.
We have some employees that do extra service at other agencies. They are hourly when doing the extra service, but annual at their main agency. Will they be automatically picked up, or will we have to enter them manually into PayServe?
This is Terry. I'm on the business team. The jobs that are entered into PayServe by all of the different agencies when they're processed by NYSLRS, they will be evaluated based off of if the person is currently a member. And so if there is another job that the person has that has been entered by that agency in PayServe, it will be picked up automatically and also reported to automatically through the files that we get from PayServe.
Our next question. Will I still receive letters in the mail informing me, as the payroll examiner, of the retirement information in order for me to set up new employees in PayServe?
Hi, this is Lori again. Again, as Terry mentioned, we're going to automatically process all the new hire information that's entered into PayServe by state agencies, and when we get those files and that information, we will automatically enroll or create and hire those individuals in retirement. So in order to, the question here is about whether or not you have to complete the retirement information page in PayServe, and I believe that the contribution rate and information will be passed back to PayServe and automatically updated in those files. I believe the only field that is a new field that you will have to enter is when you enter a hire transaction in PayServe. They are asking you to now indicate whether or not the person is currently a retiree of a public retirement system in New York State. But I believe that has already been implemented, so it should be no change to that procedure. But in today's world, through the registration process, we do give you the contribution rate and the tier and the date of membership. All that information that is needed for PayServe to properly process these folks will be passed back directly through a file interface, so you need to take no action on those.
Okay, our next question. How would we handle or process a new hire employee that is hired a mandatory position but is already collecting a pension? Would we have to do anything with that employee, and would we get notification of the employee's status?
Again, that retired indicator that you're filling out on the PayServe employee page is what we're going to use to determine that we should not enroll that person. You cannot become an enrolled member if you're already a retiree from one of the public retirement systems in New York State. So we would simply capture and create that information in our system. Should the pensioner decide to suspend their pension, we would then have that information on file if they wanted to restore. But we will automatically process those folks and not enroll them because they are a pensioner.
Okay, that seems to be all the questions we have for optional versus mandatory. Of course, if you do have any questions on that, feel free to ask them in our questions section on the GoToWebinar panel. We're now going to go into Go Live readiness. Okay, we do have our first question here about Go Live readiness. At Go Live, will I still have to wait to receive reporting information?
Hi, this is Margaret. No, regardless whether you enroll an optional member using Retirement Online or submitting your PayServe file, all reporting information will be immediately returned at the end of each process.
Our next question here is, my organization is not yet bronze certified. How can I see what I have left to complete for bronze certification?
Hi, this is Alicia again. You can see our helpful resources on our Learn More and Get Ready page to see what is required for each level of certification for state employers. The checklist for state employers is also in the handout section of this webinar. Our employer help desk is also here to assist you and can be reached by contacting the number on the screen.
Our next question is, I was silver certified almost a year ago, and I don't remember the process for member enrollment as well as I'd like. Will there be any refresher courses?
Hello, this is Margaret. And yes, we will be offering refresher training and keeping open the training environment for employers to log in and practice on their own.
Our next question is, do we still give a new hire an application and beneficiary packet to be filled out?
Hi, this is Margaret again. And as we indicated, if someone is mandatory, we'll receive all the necessary information as far as enrollment. If someone is optional, the person new hire will need to complete that membership application, which you can fax to us, mail to us, or going online, Retirement Online, just upload the completed document. As far as the beneficiary information, that was taken away from the enrollment process a few years back in preparation of our new redesign. So you can certainly provide a beneficiary application if you want at orientation, which they in turn can mail to us once they're enrolled, or better yet, they can actually go to self-service online once their enrollment is complete. They will be mailed a packet with all the necessary information, which they can complete and fill out, or they can go online and actually complete the designation themselves. But please do not mail, or do not fax that beneficiary designation to us for processing, as we are unable to process it through a fax.
Okay, and as a maybe a follow-up to that, do I understand correctly that that our personnel departments will no longer have to fax in applications?
As we discussed, for mandatory, no application is needed. When we are discussing the optional, you will have the ability to upload the application through Retirement Online, and you would not have to fax in the application. If you do not go through the Retirement Online process, you do have the ability to fax it into us, which we can process, but there will be a delay of information that will be returned to you.
This is Lori again. I just want to follow up on Margaret's comment about whether or not someone should fax in an application. We are leaving that channel open, and of course mail. We can always mail in a form, but we are highly encouraging employers, agencies to go, and if you have an optional member who wants to enroll, to use the enrollment dashboard and to enroll that person. Optional enrollments are very time sensitive, so you can enroll that person on the spot at the end of the application process. We'll ask you to upload the signed form, and you will receive the information. The contribution rate will be available immediately, and as well, it will also be included on the file that we feed back to PayServe. So it's really a pretty light lift, and you'll get that information done, and the person will be enrolled, and there'll be no waiting. For those people who are not comfortable using Retirement Online, again, we have not shut off the fax and the mail, but we are highly recommending that you use Retirement Online because you'll have it done instantaneously. That's good for you, it's off your plate, and it's good for your member because they can start having deductions taken immediately and not get into an arrears situation.
Our next question, if a mandatory employee is eligible to enroll in the voluntary defined contribution program, do they have 30 days from their hire date to make an election for retirement systems, or is it 30 days from the date of verification by the employer?
Hi, this is Margaret again. When someone becomes VDC eligible, their election period begins at date of hire. So 30 days from date of hire to an eligible VDC position, the clock starts ticking, and they must choose which retirement system they wish to join.
So Margaret, why don't we talk a little bit about what happens if a VDC eligible person were to be hired? Do we actually enroll them right away?
We do not, and as we spoke to earlier, if someone meets mandatory criteria and they are VDC eligible, we would not automatically enroll them within the first 30 days because we do know they have that 30-day window to make a selection.
However, their information does get reported to us, so we have their information on file, which is an advantage. And then I believe our procedure is we're going to reach out and find out whether or not they do want to join after the 30-day window has expired.
Right. We will be reaching out to the agency to determine whether or not an election to VDC has been made. If not, and they did meet mandatory criteria, we'll then enroll them into NYSLRS.
And the advantage is we will already have their information so that we can automatically do any arrears or service credit purchase cost for them on the spot.
Our next question is, can the personnel department see an employee's contribution information in the system?
This is Beth Wicks from employer reporting. And we do have a page. We're going to show you, I believe, a screenshot later on in this deck. You'll see a screenshot. We know this is a question we get quite frequently in employer reporting, that you want to see the contribution rates, and the state in the past has not been able to do that. So on that page, you will be able to look at the members' contribution rates, and you can share that information. It's also sortable, so you'd be able to see a contribution rate from a previous year, so you could tell them if it changed from one year to the next.
Our next question is, we are giving out and mailing in applications now. How will we be notified when to stop sending them in? And it is automatic.
Hi, this is Lori again. We are currently in the process of developing our cutover schedule, and we will be publishing information out to employers and state agencies about when we will be stopping our registration process and when we will be back up for business after our system upgrade. So stay tuned for that information. We'll be sending out specific dates. So keep doing what you're doing for now. We'll let you know when to change.
Our next question is, will we have the ability to see the amount of service time that a current employee has in the system?
Hi, this is Lori. Service credit is not necessarily something that any individual member's service credit is not something that is necessarily belonging to one individual employer. Members can belong to NYSLRS by virtue of state employment at various agencies, as well as at other local employers. So since that service credit is a blended value, we are not planning to provide that information and make it viewable. The pages that Beth referred to earlier will show agencies the data essentially that you report to us on behalf of your members, or that PACER reports to us on behalf of your members and employees, and that will be primarily the data that's accessible.
Okay, we're just going to take a moment to pause to allow for more time for you to ask your questions through the GoToWebinar questions section. We're going to walk you through some of the screens that you will see when we go live in the spring.
Hi, this is Alicia again. The first thing that you'll want to click on would be the Enrollment Dashboard button. Once that's clicked, you'll be brought to the Employer Details page, where you'll enter the location code, the retirement system, and then your agency code. For the location code, you're only going to actually see the ones that you have access to. And then once that location code is entered and it indicates that it's actually a state location code, that's when the agency code box will appear. After you successfully enter all of that information, you'll hit next and be brought to the personal information page. This is where you'll enter the person's personal information, so their name, social security number, date of birth, gender, and their address. I do want to note on this page you can enter more than 9 digits in the social security number. That allows for the dashes to appear after you successfully enter the 9. So if you accidentally hit one number too many times, make sure you're reviewing it that the correct social is listed. After you enter all of that, you'll hit next to enter the person's job information. There's a hire date on here, full-time permanent appointment date, location code, their job code, which is new, whether or not they're regular or temporary, their standard work period, standard hours, payroll frequency, and projected annualized wage. After you enter all of that information, you'll hit next, where you'll have a review page. This is also where you can review that the social security number was entered correctly. If there's anything that you notice that's incorrect on here, you can hit edit and go back and fix it. But once you're satisfied with the information, you'll hit submit. Because the person will be optional, you'll need to then click that they're optional choosing to enroll to then be able to upload their application. So you would hit that enroll upload form and be brought to this page where you'll browse for their application to then upload it. Once it's successfully uploaded, you'll receive the enrollment confirmation page. This will list their NYSLRS ID, their EMPL record, the member registration number, contribution rate, and their tier. You can then close out of this feature or enroll another employee.
So Alicia, this is Lori. I noticed as we were going through the screenshots that when you get to the part where we detect that a person is an optional member, you can either choose to enroll and upload the form, or there's another button where you can just hire optional. Can you talk a little bit about why you might use one versus the other?
You would hit hire optional or click hire optional if someone decides that they don't want to join the system, so that you can get the EMPL ID and the EMPL record, so that you can report that person. But if they want to join, you would have to go through the enroll feature to upload the form, because we need their signature to enroll them to membership.
I wanted to emphasize that because we're pulling all the information directly from Payserve's files, if they are hired through Payserve pages into the payroll system, we will actually get that information eventually. So while you can do the hire optional into NYSLRS, you don't necessarily need to if a person is not joining, because we will get that information when the file gets sent to us bi-weekly. It's really keenly important to make sure you're using these pages when a person does indicate that they want to join. That's probably the primary reason why state agencies will be using this particular page.
And Lori, what about the military time that people can buy back? Will we be able to see the service credits that people get for being in the military? Because right now, we don't know how many years of service someone is retiring with, other than what they have for the state part.
Well, that's a good question. That's actually private information as well. So, because we are not the military, neither is the state. So the individual member will be able to see how much service credit they're getting credit for. And if they choose to, as Margaret suggested earlier, create an individual member account with Retirement Online, right when they get to their homepage, they will be able to see what their current service credit is. And if they're in the process of purchasing any service credit to increase that, they'll be able to see that which they can still purchase as available as well.
Our next question is, under the new system, will employers have the ability to update employees' information online? Essentially updating an employee address or name change if the employee gets married.
Hi, this is Margaret. No, it is the responsibility of the employee/member to update the retirement system when they have an address or name change. So they can certainly do as they do now. They can send in forms for us to process, or if they've enrolled online, it is really best to just update that information. It will get processed immediately, and it would be to their advantage to do so online. It is not the responsibility of the employer to process these changes.
This is Lori again. In fact, I will emphasize that our current Retirement Online member functionality allows registered members, enrolled members to our Retirement Online system to update their address or at this point, so they should use that functionality. We encourage people to do that. A name change, however, still requires paper documentation, so that for the time being needs to be mailed in. We are looking to expand that service later next year to include the ability to upload some paper documentation in support of name changes.
Our next question is, who and what decides whether an employee is optional or mandatory?
Hi, this is Margaret again. The retirement system has retirement law that determines who is mandatory. Certainly as a Tier 6 member, anyone who is appointed to a 12-month permanent full-time position earning at least current state minimum wage is mandated to membership. If an employee doesn't meet all the criteria noted, they would be optional. Any employee that would be a participant of PNF, just having the eligibility to participate in PNF, police and fire, automatically mandates them to membership.
Our next question is, does all of this apply to SUNY agencies? Not all of us have direct entry into Payserve.
This is Lori. I'm going to guess that what you're talking about is that there are many state agencies that do not have direct entry into PayServe because their personnel functions are serviced by the Business Service Center. So we essentially do our file exchange directly with the files that are resident within PayServe. So if the information gets into PayServe, whether by the agency's hands or by the BSC's hands, that's where we're going to get the information from.
Okay, and our next question is, because you will get higher information from PayServe, does that mean that if an optional employee chooses not to enroll, we do not need to enter their record here?
This is Lori again. Again, you will hire them into PayServe, and so they will therefore get reported to us. We will evaluate their job data the way Margaret described. If they do not meet the mandatory criteria, they will be an optional employee. And if you never go visit the enrollment dashboard, then we will never enroll them. So it's really those optional employees, it's their choice. So if they complete the form and sign it, then you would be obligated to either use Retirement Online to enroll them and upload that signed form, or mail in or fax the optional form.
Our next question is, will the enrollment process let us know if somebody has previously withdrawn from NYSLRS, and how will their enrollment go through?
This is Margaret. Certainly, if someone has withdrawn, all the monies have been returned to that member, we will basically enroll them back to an active membership. They will have already established an EMPL ID. We will provide that information to you, and I would assume that if someone has a withdrawn membership, more than likely they'll look to reinstate that old membership. Once we complete the enrollment process, we at NYSLRS will automatically reach out to that member and offer them tier reinstatement.
In fact, that information will be included in the enrollment packet that they get at the conclusion of the enrollment process.
Will the employee have a registration number and NYSLRS ID? Will we need to use both numbers?
The employees will have both numbers. In fact, we actually have them today. But we primarily use registration numbers today with our legacy system. NYSLRS IDs are simply unique identifiers within our new system that we use internally to manage that account. You will begin to see in any correspondence where we reference members, you'll begin to see NYSLRS IDs, and I think it's fair to say for the time being you'll probably see both until we completely move away from the registration numbers.
And we also just want to reiterate some of the benefits of Retirement Online. Contribution rates will be passed automatically. It's going to be faster and more streamlined process, and it should reduce mandatory arrears. And also, just as a reminder, make sure you are checking out the Retirement Online Learn More and Get Ready page to stay up to date with the latest Retirement Online resources.
While this webinar is focused on the enrollment process, because I mentioned it, I just wanted to restate that not only will contribution rates get passed back automatically to PayServe, but any loan and arrears deductions will also get passed back automatically. So that's not unique to enrollment, but we are, again, exchanging that information directly. In today's world, agencies get individual letters, and you're asked to go to the benefits page and update the deduction amounts. We'll be passing that information back directly to PayServe, and they will be applying those changes.
And just as a reminder, as far as how employer certification works on the state end, for bronze certification, you must identify and provision a security administrator as well as a contact administrator. The security administrator will be able to set up security for the folks listed on the contact list, as well as request a user ID. And you'll also need to request that access for the appropriate employer contacts to make sure that your folks can do what they need to do in Retirement Online. And you'll also need to make sure that you complete the first time login in order to complete your bronze certification. Our next question is, what's the difference between hire date and full-time permanent employment date?
Hi, this is Alicia. So for the hire date, that's the first time that they're appointed to the position that you're entering on that page. So all that criteria that you're entering, it would be the first time they were appointed. And then if they happen to be full-time permanent, you would enter the date in there. What we were trying to do is make sure that the correct and appropriate date of membership is applied to those members. So what we were hoping to avoid is if somebody writes the hire date as the first time they started working with their organization and then entering mandatory criteria in the bottom section that it doesn't apply a date of membership with that hire date, that it would actually, if they do it that way, for the hire date, enter January, for example, they become full-time permanent in March, that if they enter mandatory criteria, the correct date of membership of March would be applied if they were doing the enrollment in April.
Okay, our next question. How do we know what job code we are supposed to use?
Hi, this is Margaret. We will be providing something online which is going to outline the new job codes that we are offering. Obviously, we did have to limit it. We could not provide a job code for every existing job title. So you will be provided with a listing of the job codes with descriptions of the titles for your use. That will be coming to you soon.
This is Lori. That job code mapping is not to be confused with the job codes that you use in PACER. I believe there are several thousand job codes in state payroll. Your list will be much shorter with NYSLRS. They're fairly generic categories, and they're basically used by us to determine what retirement benefit plan that particular employee is eligible for. But we will be providing a tool that will help you understand which ones are the values that you should be using.
And our next question is, can we have a second employee in our office signed up to do enrollments as a backup?
This is Beth. Yes, your contact and security administrator need to work together. They can add the second person as somebody with security access. And then the security administrator would go in and designate them as a personnel security role. And then you could do that with 2 people, or you can add 3 people. It depends on how many are appropriate for your organization.
And as a follow-up to that, if you do delegate some additional people to have that personnel role, that will trigger us to invite them to attend some training. So we'll be happy to do that for you.
Okay, it looks like we don't have any more questions coming in. We'd like to thank you for all of your questions. And before we sign off, we just want to reiterate a few points. First, NYSLRS is committed to providing you with the resources you need to start using the new Retirement Online for member enrollment. It's also critical that during this time period that you keep your contact types and security roles up to date in our system to be Bronze certified, as these individuals will be receiving targeted messages from us related to their work. And if you have not yet completed your Bronze or Silver certification, it is imperative that you complete your self-paced training in order to realize the benefits of the new member enrollment process as part of Retirement Online. You can see our certification checklist in the handout section of this webinar. Once Silver certified, you will be invited to further member enrollment practice opportunities in preparation for Go Live in May. And for more information on that, as well as the other topics that we covered today, please visit our Learn More and Get Ready for Retirement Online page, or as always, contact our help desk staff because they're here to help. I'd like to thank you again for joining us. We really appreciate you taking the time, and please feel free, again, to contact us anytime with any questions you can think of.